Hello and welcome to my quick video on how metrics work in ScenariosX. So I'm going to start by logging into the system. I'm going to pick out our support account, which is help@plantechhub.com, and then put in my fingerprint. This is my passkey. A very safe as well as very quick way to access the system. Once I get into the system, we're here automatically in the dashboard. We're already seeing what things that kind of look like they're metrics. They're not really the same kind of metrics that I'm going to talk about here today. These are just a quick summary of everything that's happening among all of your clients. We could add greatly to this list of these kind of summary metrics and do more of these, which would certainly will someday. But what I'm going to focus on today are the metrics that are specific to each individual household. We first can kind of see a representation of what metrics are available by going into one of the next three topics up here. So outside dashboard, we have plan summary, which is allowing us to see what's kind of happening throughout the plan. Current profile, which is what the plan's made up of, number of insurance policies, number of investments, so forth and so on. And then, of course, their financial health ratios. These are all examples of metrics that are not just available here, but also available inside of each one of the households. So I'm going to go into George and Martha Washington, our most patriotic clients, and introduce what are our most important two metrics. Number one, funding rate. This is using a constant return, constant inflation. In essence, this 88% represents the shaded here that's green versus white. Expenses needed, but we only got 88 cents to every dollar that we needed. Then we run a test on this. This is Monte Carlo simulation. So in Monte Carlo simulation, we're basically running this plan over and over and over again, in this case, 1,000 times. And then we're basically counting number of successes and number of failures. So this plan was successful 34% of the time. So this is their client's current plan, or what they're currently doing for themselves. We start to really expand upon the idea of what metrics are when we start going into scenarios. This is where we have the ability to not just create recommendations, but to create other types of plans for different types of reasons. So metrics are not just the funding rate, success rate, as we talked about. These below are also metrics: guaranteed income coverage, effective tax rate. These are all numbers that the system has kind of calculated, that we don't have to depend upon going into levels of details of information here to be able to extrapolate out the most important numbers you guys should be looking at. So we have a kind of a representation of some metrics here that I'll use when building a scenario. But you also have the ability to make metrics different and specific to you looking at, just like we do with graphs. So if I were to go to kind of my expense coaching scenario here, I have different graphs. Not only do I have different graphs that are defaulted, but I also have different metrics that are defaulted. We can customize each one of these by going into options. And you can see here where you have scenario-specific metrics, scenario-specific graphs. And this is where we can put in new graphs, put in new metrics. So if I wanted to add a few new metrics, I'd come in here, add a new metric, maybe put inflation protection ratio, maybe another one, real return, whatever. And then all I have to do is hit save. And I have added more metrics here to my system. And again, you can add as many as them you want. The system is built so that you can fit them all on the page if you want to. But one way you may want to kind of customize that is by looking into the different engage modules. So even though, again, each one of these different scenarios, debt analysis just has some debt metrics as well as some debt graphs. We've made it specific to what we're looking at here. But again, what we want to do is go into engage, and we might want to go and have a specific page that's just about looking at our suggestions, our recommendations. Again, you could have a completely different set of metrics as a default here if you want to. Again, there is a customized set of metrics per each one of these modules. But then again, if you had set a certain metrics and graphs to go along with it, those will override and go along with this scenario. So we have suggested actions, we have workshop, again, just like scenarios, and then plan comparison. Plan comparison is where I'll kind of leave it off today in terms of presentation, in that you literally could take every single metric that we have under the sun and you could put them all on this one particular page, so that you could really not just use this as a presentation page, but it obviously helps you determine what metrics do you want to focus on when putting in your own suggested actions or the metrics that go into your suggested actions. So again, these are very simple to put in there, very simple to customize. If I go under customize and say my module options, I can go here to the plan comparison. And as you can see, I just threw the kitchen sink of different metrics in there. Very easy to start off with. I can, if there's any that I haven't added, which there's not many, again, very simple. I just click on it and it adds it. And I could go and I could move this about if I want to. Here, very simple for me to get rid of any of them as well if I want to. So that's metrics in a nutshell. Again, if you have any questions, definitely give us a call in support department. We'd be more than happy to step through the system and kind of step through how any of this functionality works. So I hope you enjoy metrics and check out a free trial so that you could go and start playing with your own metrics and see how you would use them to present to your client. Thanks.